Namaste everyone.
Shudvyadischa chikitsyataam pradidinam vikshaushadam vujyatam swadvannam natu yachyatam iti vashat praptena santushyatam shitoshnaadi vishahyatam nadurtha Vakyam samucharyadam audasinyamabhipsyatan janakripa nashturya mutsrajyatam. In hunger, diseases get treated daily by taking the medicine of bhiksha food. Beg not for delicious food. Live contentedly with whatever comes to you. Endure all the pairs of opposites like heat and cold, like and dislike, etc. Avoid unnecessary talk. Be indifferent. Save yourself from the meshes of people's kindness. These are all the advices of Adi Shankaracharya to his students in Sadhana Panchaka.
Bhagavan used to mix up all the food together and just eat it. And people sometimes used to get offended if someone has prepared something especially for Bhagavan and they want it to be tasted separately. And he just used to mix everything. Actually, this week I had a complaint from a patient who couldn't taste any food. So she had a anterior cerebral artery aneurysmal bleed, and that involved the frontal lobe of the brain. And there are connections, there are case reports in which people lose sense of taste when there is a lesion in that part of the brain. She says everything tastes same or no taste. And she said, I was a foodie, I used to love for food. Now my life is miserable. I can't taste. And when she was telling me, it was just, I was seeing Ramana eating, mixing up everything, no taste. I said, look, you can put your interest in other things rather than in taste, one thing less. You can prepare whatever. But this is the thing, one thing gone, which is our craving, we don't accept it, that at least one thing less to worry about. There were saints in India who were born blind. And they always said they were blessed to be born blind if you listen to their discourses. At least one thing we don't have to worry about what these eyes are seeing and then trying not to indulge in seeing. At least one thing God has gifted us, to worry less about one thing. But who takes things like this? The one who is established in self. Because he or she knows that all these are obstacles to know the self. All these senses, all what is this body has sense organs, internal body, with mind, ego, intellect, emotions, feelings. All these are obstacles because they are avaran, they are the coverings over the self. And all our life we just stay on this surface and we die. I was talking to a youth today who said, I don't see anyone interested in spirituality at my age group in uni. And everyone wants some sort of indulgence. And they try their best so they are accepted in the community, in the peer. So they get drunk. So they can't, so not to think rationally in any way. And she said a beautiful thing. She said one of the things behind it is that there is a good excuse that I was drunk. So you can do what mistake you want to do and you can give a good excuse that I was not in my senses. One is these drugs or alcohol which can make us out of senses. But all these sense organs also makes us out of senses. They all pull our energy into it and then we don't know we have been pulled. And then once we have committed a mistake, we justify it. No, that's okay, everyone is doing it. A state of self-realization is a state of extreme alertness. The thing which is aware of everything is very aware. It is so pure that it has no time to get involved in analyzing, criticizing, liking, disliking. It is just whatever it is, it is. It has given this work or power to its subordinate, who has assumed that he is the body. Body means mind and body and intellect and everything. And that does all this crap business of analyzing, criticizing, all this analysis happening and then worrying and planning. It is a lower level of energy in which all this happens. Self doesn't move. Purush, it just stays. That is why they say that self is Purush, male, and this ego is dynamic, creative, or doing. Ego is Prakriti or feminine part of it. That stillness never moves. To come to that, we have to deeply scrutinize each and every thought and movement and action and intention happening at the ego level. The moment you watch it, it drops. And if you give energy to the ego to do all those things at that level, then you will never see self. Never ever. We are our biggest obstacle. Our passion, our desire, our interest. This all is obstacle because all that is happening at an involved state. That involved state is ego. Self is uninvolved state, only a witness. And it cannot come and go. It is just it is. It has no association with anything, nor with the mind. These keen eyes of wisdom, when they watch internal structure in us, that all internal structure collapses. It cannot, one thing, it cannot stay if it is being scrutinized properly. And this whole scrutinization, you can call it self-inquiry. Whether you are watching thoughts or you are watching actions and the planning and what is happening. And the moment we start living in that uninvolved observership, this sense of duty or sense of responsibility goes away first, which comes from only from doership. Then the body becomes an instrument, whatever it has to do in a timely fashion, as predestined it does. And the energy is just watching it happening. So the bliss comes swataha, automatic, because there is no doership. Only doership takes away all the fun, all the bliss. When you feel responsible for your acts, that's what they say, we should be responsible for our acts. This is the common usage. People say we should think and then act. They are all opposite to non-duality or Advaita or Vedanta. This is for the common person, individual. But if you want to transcend, then these rules don't apply to you. Thinking is the faculty of ego. It works for a person or personal interest. Personal interest can also be to help others or community. But it all keeps ego alive. Beyond ego, there is no doership, no claim, not even claim of self-realization. Because nobody realizes self. Self is realized by self only. When the ego is dropped, when the ego disappears. Basically, we have to kill this entity which is working through the body as I and mine. I goes away with knowledge, and knowledge is by contemplating truth all the time till it becomes natural. Trying to establish ourselves in reality as just an observer. The moment we complain, remember we have dropped down to ego level. Doesn't mean that we still cannot think what is right or wrong, but complaint coming from the ego level has a different taste than just a complaint about increase this thing or decrease this thing or whatever. Complaint always has an emotion, anger, feeling upset, angry, irritable. If we watch it, then next time it will not happen. It is shifting our place from where we act, from ego to self. When we shift, we realize that it was just the mind creating this thought, I am doing, I have done, I have achieved, I have lost. All I. This I goes the moment we start doing self inquiry. With discrimination, with discretion, with contemplation, this I drops. But then we see just things happening, things doing. We cannot say good or bad or whatever, just things are happening. Freedom from this I is freedom. There is no other freedom. The moment I goes, mine also goes away. They both stay together, goes together. Other way to get rid of mine is by bhakti, by devotion, by starting as duality, as some Ishta Devata, some God, some Guru, some power, and devotee of that power. And that power merges that ego. So mine is dissolved in that. Mine gone, I goes away at the same time. It is completely non-religious. No religion can say that this is my teaching. It is universal teaching. Advaita is universal. It is not belonging to any group or sect or religion. It is universal. It is experiential. Before we start talking to someone, before talking, if we adjust within, so many unnecessary talks actually can never happen. I'll tell you. If we take away I and mine, you will not call anyone because there's nothing to talk then. There is very less to talk if we take away I and mine. Nothing left to gossip. In awareness, who is saying to whom? Who is I? Who is you? Except Jnani, everyone knows who is I, who is you. But when you don't have a reference point on this body, then who are we? We are the one who is talking and we are the one who is listening. And we are the one who is observing. And we are none of them. Awareness is so neutral, impartial. That is why it is bliss. Bliss is not in part to anything. That creates bliss. Bliss stays there. Bliss is always there. Bliss never comes and goes. We can establish ourselves in this bliss by paying attention to it. And once we know where we are, what is it, we don't even know when. There is no practice needed. At night we dream and we get lost. How is it possible? Same ego operates in dream also. But if in daytime we establish an awareness, awareness persists, it never goes away. A seeker should not compare himself or herself with anyone, because everything is his own projection coming from your own mind. And substrata of that all happening is self only. So, how far these eyes see people, things, beings, whatever, good, bad, it's all part of us, coming from us. So, this realization connects us with everyone. No one is a stranger, no one is separate. All is one. Illusion gone, there is only unconditional love left. Because conditioning is only at mind level. He is my brother, he is my sister, he is my enemy, he is my boss, all these divisions comes with conditioning of mind. For a person, all guidance comes from mind. For a jnani, there is no guidance. Nobody is guiding. No one is doing. So, no guidance needed. Everything happens spontaneously, as destined. And realization is all bodies are just instruments of it. All of us are just witness to it. Witness who is peaceful in supreme bliss. Contented. Self is so complete in itself, it is not interested to change anything. Not changing anything for this body. Everything is perfect. Some jnanis go and you can see they do help in so many ways. But because people come, they ask, they do. But for them, everything is perfect because self is perfect. What we feel, we see in the whole world. If we are paranoid, we see the whole world like that. We cannot trust anyone. If we are angry, we always meet angry people and we have fights, arguments. If we are peaceful, we always meet peaceful people. If we trust everyone, nobody breaks our trust. Even the people who are considered to not be good, they also behave good with good people. So is the power of this self. We just have to abide in it. And we all have that self. No one is born without self. Yes, someone can be born without ego. We call them avatari, purush. But self is in everyone. Everyone has that divine. Satsang is nothing but to get the divine in us to manifest, to unfold. We have not realized this because we have never looked there. The moment we start looking here, it blossoms. Even thinking about that is grace, kripa. They say that out of 84 lakh yonis or so many different types of births, the last comes human birth. They call it last because from here we have to take this jump to be free forever. This human birth is not to fail and then get again a human birth. This is to finish the story here. Some sects, some religions talk about 7 births after which you get mukti. No, this is the only for everyone without exception. So what needed to be done in a human birth? That you should have some interest in knowing the self. And the second, some teaching, some guru should be there to tell you. If these 3 things are aligned, then no one can stop you from eternal freedom. A human birth, longing to know, and teaching, or contemplation, or a guru, or scriptures, or practice, whatever you call. If these things are there, then no action needs to be done to know it. If you are ready, it will just happen. Because it is an effortless state. All efforts are needed to be out of it. when we are having a doership, doership means we are doing something. This is a non-doership. So when there is a doership, that means it is pulling out from this state into a doer mode. This is state of inaction. It doesn't mean that the body doesn't work, act, do. Maybe it might start doing 1,000 times more work than before, doesn't matter. But there is no doership. I, when disappears, then doing is there, but no one is doing. No, I am doing. Abide in this pure energy. Move in this energy all the time. Because this energy is within and outside. Once we identify with this energy, we see body moving, body doing, body going. But this energy is still, unmoving. People are so busy with the body, how I look, how I dress, how people perceive me. This all shows I am so much in I am the body idea. A little problem occurs to the body, we get scared of death. 100% we will die if we get scared because we are body. But if you are witness, then no death can touch us. Witnessing has a different power. It is like you are behind the scene, you are the screen, and you know only few know that screen, rest are all dancing in front as bodies. Staying as a body is a scary thought because body has limited time. I know people are worried about everything in life. whether I will get married, whether I will get kids, whether I'll have a boy, whether he will get married, whether I will have grandkids. But they never think about that one day I will die. All other things may or may not happen, but one thing is certain, the body will die. And we waste our energy in these petty desires all the time, not realizing death is knocking on the door. As soon as we are born, this body is going to die one day. If our identity is with the body, then our death is certain. Why don't we transcend, get out of the illusion, and live in reality as pure self all the time? There is only one rule in it. If you know the truth, before death comes to the body, it cannot touch you. But during practice, if you are still identified with body, then whatever sadhana done will work for you in next birth. But still, it's an incomplete task. And it is an important task. It is like living in a dream or out of the dream. Satsang is nothing but a waking up call, a reminder to be awake, to be aware of this pure awareness, to be aware of this uninvolved observer in our heart, bringing our energy here, recognizing the truth, and being in company of truth, and become one with truth. Mind is that energy which always wants to go external, seeking, searching, liking, disliking, fighting, loving, whatever. The busyness. From that busyness to stillness, it is a long journey. You can count number of stars, but you can't count a person's number of desires. I'm not saying this is a saying, I'm just repeating. That's what they say. The desires are more than number of stars. But rather than worrying about number of desires, we should just pay attention to self. Once we understand what the self is, we keep our energy. Vairagya and dispassion will automatically come because this is so blissful, so peaceful. Every human being is looking for peace, not objects of desires. Objects of desires we think gives us happiness or peace. But once we have this notional correction and we pay attention to pure awareness, ourself, that knowledge of all knowledge comes to us. This is the last freedom. This is the real freedom. A person can be slave of a master but can be free from inside. Or a person can be king of the country but can be slave of the mind. Freedom from mind is the real freedom. There are people who have issues with mental health, voices talking to them, guiding them, asking them to do something, and they get so disturbed and they look for treatment and to fix the problem. But we all suffer from the same problem. That constant noise in our head is not us. It is a conditioning which comes in form of thoughts, and a unique conditioning in all of us. So we all get different thoughts. Problem is not in thoughts. Problem is accepting those thoughts as my thoughts and working on those thoughts, behaving through those thoughts, getting upset because of those thoughts, showing others down because of those thoughts, treating others badly due to those thoughts. This is our problem. This is the trap. Stop believing in thoughts. Stop following thoughts. Pay attention to awareness. Pay attention to pure silence within. And you know what? Next minute you will say, how would I function if I don't follow my thoughts? That's what I do all the time. What talks like this? Ego. It is the full proof of ego that it cannot live without obeying thoughts. Because that is also a thought. Thought following thought is ego. Ego is I thought, which believes on all these thoughts. We cannot fix mind, we can only leave mind. Because there is nothing to fix in mind. It is its innate nature. Mind is nothing but bundle of thoughts. All the practices which is being taught as mindfulness and all, they control number of thoughts. They make them under control. As you put a culprit in a jail and you control his or her behavior, that's all. But the culprit is there, still there. The moment it is given a chance, it becomes big. Self-inquiry is mano-nasha, destruction of this culprit, finishing its story by paying attention to awareness and not listening to it. Then, when you stop following your thoughts, a new power comes to you, intuitive awareness, as if everything that pure knowledge is to you. And then the body moves in harmony with that knowledge. Each action becomes divine. No conditioned mind which is giving orders, no middlemen. Actions, there is nothing right or wrong about actions. It is mind which says, oh, I have done this right or I have done this wrong, because I is there. I has vested interest. Awareness has no interest. It accepts whatever comes. There is no profit, no loss. But for I, there is everything is a business. Relationships, job, everything. Everything is about personal gain and profit. Awareness knows that I am always supreme bliss. I am complete. There is no profit or loss for me. There is a huge, huge difference between living at ego and living at awareness. People follow their thoughts and doing all the stupid, crazy things, and they think, I am free to do what I want. Real freedom is of Jnani, living in bliss, no thought guiding. Living in this moment, all the time, this very moment. There is no past and no future. Only present moment. Present moment is only with awareness. Mind always stays in time and space. It talks about past, about future. It never stays in this moment because of its conditioning. And people enjoy this. I'm not saying people don't enjoy it. People enjoy it a lot. Recently, one of my friend's sister came from overseas and they're sleeping at 3 a.m. He says every night we talk about what we did, this, did, that, all those memories. We are getting so emotional every day. We sleep at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. What is this? A lot of people will think, oh, it is so good, your sister has come, you should always go back to the memory lane and just get drowned in it with all emotions. And that memory is okay, but your identification, your attachment, as if you were living that in that ego, that makes your ego so strong with all those attachments. I'm not saying don't love, but see from that awareness that love, not just for sister, for everyone. But who understands this? Conditioned mind can never understand it. And we should never tell anyone who is so conditioned and loving that conditioning. It is only for a seeker, I am telling, not for general public. We should accept everyone as they are, but it is only for an ardent spiritual seeker who wants real freedom. These statements are only for that person, not for anyone else. Out of billions of people, not even a million are looking for that type of freedom. Living in this pure energy is a blessing to this body and blessing to everyone around us. Let's say someone is your role model or someone whom you always look forward to meet, and suddenly that person starts staying in your home. It is that type of feeling. He stays in you. I feel that is the maximum joy, that bliss. That you always pinch yourself, it has happened to me. Because you know this body has not done any great work. Very ordinary. Because that energy doesn't see what you have done or not. It is only looking for your longing, your love. In India, there were dacoits who got enlightenment like Valmiki. Because the moment you detach yourself from all actions of the body, you are outside the law of karma. Law of karma applies only to the body. Your realization, you are not the body, you are free. You are outside law of karma. Body will go through what it has to go through, but no suffering to you. Suffering stays only till you have I am the body idea. I am the body idea gone, end of suffering. When the ego brings a thought to act or to think or to judge, remember that you are awareness. And your just remembrance and paying attention to awareness will drop I. With I, all the thought will disappear. If we start practicing for a second, for a minute, for an hour, for a day, we will get hang of it, what it is. You start in the neutral moments when you are alone, when you're walking, washing dishes, cleaning, driving. Then you can bring it to your workplace, work in which there is no argument, just a mechanical work. Then bring it to situations in when there can be small issues. And then bring it to your family, because that's the most difficult part. A lot of stories, a lot of emotions, heavy emotions. If you don't remember, you don't relate with any story, others relate. What happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And so the real test is there. To stay neutral, impartial as awareness, not getting emotional, angry, upset when the other body's putting allegations or saying something sarcastically. That is why Kabir says that Nindak nire rakhiye agan kuti chhawaye bin sabun pani bina nirmal kare suhaye. This is in Hindi, but it means the person who is your critic, always criticizes you, keep them in your house, make their house in your courtyard. If they live close to you, they will clean your mind and all your chit without soap and water. You will be cleansed. That's what our family members do. We should be thankful to them rather than getting upset, because they are the real test. We can show a nice face in front of everyone, but when it comes to family members or someone really close, if you take it as a game and you are honest about your practice, freedom is not that far. Maybe months, maybe years, but not more than a couple of years. And that too because we are not living in a cave, we are living with people and we just keep slipping because of old habits. But it's a good testing ground. We are being tested all the time by people are surrounding us. And you can use two parameters to judge how far you are from self: total acceptance and no expectations. Actually, both means the same. Trust yourself than anything else. Actually, we don't have too many things. One is mind, the other is self. Keep your energy here all the time. Whatever comes and goes, don't move. I really appreciate all of you. So many people have put efforts to be free. This shows that there are so many people who are not drowned in this ocean of samsara. They are actually keeping themselves up. There is longing, there is grace, and there is lot of grace. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Arunachal Ramanaya Om. May Arunachala help all of us as it has helped from millions of years. Everyone who has come to the doorstep of Arunachala or who has remembered Arunachala or who has even taken name of Arunachala even once. Please, please don't underestimate power of Arunachala. It is that center of energy, that powerhouse. You remember, you become a devotee, it turns you into Arunachala, pure self. There is no doubt about it. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti.